If we go beyond that to the Yanukovych years, the SBU was the key part of the repressive structures of the Yanukovych regime. During the Euromaidan revolution, it was the SBU that gave the commands to crack down on the protesters. It was very probably members of the Alpha group that fired on protesters. And when the time came for them to be held to account, when the revolution succeeded and there was an inquiry into the activities of the SBU, pretty much the entire senior command of the SBU quit and went to Russia, along with Yanukovych. Meanwhile, various members of the SBU became key parts of the Donetsk and Luhansk People's Republic militias. I'm thinking primarily of Alexander Khodorkovsky, who was the head of an Alpha Group team in Donetsk during the 2012 Euros. He was I believe he headed the team that provided security. He did sniper overlooks and such at the Euro 2012s. And he became one of the most effective commanders in the DNR militias. He headed up the Vostok Brigade. And many of his comrades went with him. The head of the SBU at that time, Alexander Yakomenko, who was one of those senior officials who fled to Russia, when it came time for the full-scale invasion, he was tasked with setting up a security service within the occupied Kherson and Zaporizhia regions. So all these investigations you may have heard regarding torture chambers and hunting down the families of soldiers, of killing partisans, a lot of that was directly controlled by Alexander Yakomenko, the former head of the SBU, who defected to Russia and became a traitor. And with the full-scale invasion, once again, we saw lots of the SBU compromised. The Kherson office of the SBU was entirely compromised. The head of that office is now being investigated for treason. The details of that we will not know, but we know that Kherson was very heavily infiltrated. We know the SBU is a very large part of that. We know that during the Russian attack on Kherson, the bridges into the city from the left to the right banks should have been blown up, but they were not. If they had been blown up, who knows how much longer the Russians would have needed to take the city, if there could have been an evacuation, if people could have lived. We know that the Russians got a hold of local records of who was part of the territorial defense. We know that the Russians used those records to hunt people down, to torture them and kill them. So who said what currently is a matter of questions and speculation, but we have our theories. That's not to say that the SBU has been completely overrun and corrupted, but it is less trusted, less trusted than the defense intelligence of Ukraine.